40s, dance, Latin, country, pop, rock and roll, all in one station, mixing genres and generations. You're listening to KNLY, New Waverly, Texas, 91.1 FM, The Boss. It's time to change. If you like country, we play it. If you like pop, we play it. If you like Latin music, we play it. If you like rock and roll, we play it. Because no one does fusion music like we do. 91.1 FM, The Boss.
Programs presented are submitted by members of our community and are a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect those of KNLY 91.1 FM, The Boss, and affiliates.
Dr. V and Jason Phelps. I'm Dr. V, and I own Core Sports Health in Conroe. At Core Sports Health, we kind of practice functional medicine, wellness, and focus on diet, nutrition, exercise activity, hormonal health. With me, as always, is my buddy Jason Phelps, who runs TWC Prep here in the Woodlands. Yeah. They're kind of my go-to for referring clients and patients. So what's up, man?
Man, it's been a busy week. I haven't been able to keep my days straight.
Well, you almost didn't show up today.
I know. I thought today was Wednesday all day. Yeah. And, it's just one of those days. From yesterday, it was the same thing. It's just been very, very busy week, which is great. You know, we have a lot going on. And but I think I'm caught up and I'm in the right place.
Good.
It feels
we can relax for the next hour and just, shoot the shit. So, can I say shit?
I don't think you're supposed to say it twice for sure.
So today I want to welcome an old friend to the show, Alicia, Nance. We've known each other for years. I kind of wanted to bring her on because, I mean, she's had a huge transformation, but it spanned a few years. And you know, we'll talk a lot about that because, you know, I get it a lot and you get it a lot. You know, everybody wants it now. 6 months and in 3 months and 90 days. And you know, we've known each other for many years through CrossFit, and a bunch of different, training, and I've put up a picture on Facebook, and so that kind of shows her before and after, and even yearly she posts kind of the transformation. But the big one to me was the original one, because again, you were never like just out of
I was never
overweight,
right?
Yeah, and but the transformation now.
Right,
it's
incredible.
It's different.
Yes.
So
it's about getting a very specific look now.
Yes,
it's a very aesthetic.
Yeah.
Kind of
so like, talk to everybody about your background, where you came from. I know you have you have a BS in exercise physiology and stuff. So talk to us about your background a little bit and introduce yourself to the.
Okay, so I have a bachelor's of science in kinesiology with an exercise science concentration.
Same.
Cool.
That's my degrees in.
That's your degree.
Yeah. What school?
Sam.
Same.
That's right. Hey, look at that. 2 people from the kines department at Sam.
That's right. So I did not graduate till 2015. Now, I do have 2 kiddos, so I have a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old. So I did all of this while kind of raising them. I changed my major like 10 times, a lot, through the years. I would say, so I grew up very little, just very underweight, but I found myself pregnant at 19. So I gained quite a bit of weight then. I'm upwards of 85 pounds. And at 19, everyone's like, oh, you'll bounce back, you'll bounce back. Well, no, you don't just bounce back. If you don't exercise right and you don't eat a proper diet, you don't just bounce back. So that's kind of where I got into fitness. So I started CrossFit 2011 just to kind of get my feet wet. I cycled a lot. I did like YMCA classes, body pump classes, and nothing ever got me kind of where I wanted to go. So I started CrossFit. I bounced around, things changed. Now I'm 34, so this has been since 2011 I started lifting weights. So I have consistently lifted. I would say I stayed in CrossFit for 5 years, 5.5 years, I think. I just kind of got a little bored with it. I just wanted something different. I had completed my degree by then. I was training clients, doing a lot of personal training. But I only stayed on the exercise front. I never got into nutrition because I didn't know the importance of nutrition. That's not Kenny's degree. That's really not something.
You don't cover it a lot.
I think I had one nutrition class,
right?
For my physiology degree. It's something you need to learn on your own and take the time to just do the research and just, there's so much stuff out there and you got to kind of go through it. So I would say 2 years ago, I had been just kind of following some influencers on Instagram, and I was like, you know what? I really want to do a bodybuilding show. It's a new goal. It's something I've never done before. It's going to help me with nutrition and understand physiology better. I know the body, and I know how exercise affects the body, but how does it change with nutrition? So I started that, and when I set a goal, I don't think in terms of 2 months or 3 months. I think in terms of a year and years. I know this takes time. So when I said I'm going to do a show, I'm not going to do it next month.
Until
I'm
you're
not going
ready.
to do it 12 weeks from now. I'm going to properly build. I set a goal for a year from then. I was like, I'm going to do a show. I'm going to go through a good growing season, make sure everything's right. Through that, I learned a ton about nutrition and how things affect your body, and with you can't just have exercise, you have to have everything. So that kind of enabled me to start helping other people with that, because that's where my real passion is to help those people through what I learned with myself. So I've been doing this for so long. I started helping others and bringing on those kinds of clients. And then I would say last year, June of 2019, was my first show, and I was hooked after that. I saw my body transform into something I never thought was possible, and it was mainly through just nutrition, because I had been lifting all these years, but I hadn't just started lifting, right? I had been lifting since 2011.
Right.
And
but didn't look like you wanted to, right?
Right.
That's the thing I think a lot of people don't understand is you hear the saying, you can't out-train a bad diet.
No, that's exactly
And you may not even know that you have a bad diet. you know?
Well, like we talk about, 90% of the patients that come in on a daily basis will sit there, and the very first thing I go over them is their nutrition, and almost all of them, 9 out of 10, say, "Well, I eat a very clean diet."
That's right.
And until you actually go through it, and tell me what a clean diet means to you, or what they're eating tacos for lunch and this, that, a lot of.
You got to peel back those layers.
What they're doing.
The underreporting when it comes to self-monitoring your diet is almost uniform across the board. Nobody thinks they eat as much as they do.
Well, and you forget about bites you take of things, especially moms who have kids. You're, chicken nuggets in front of you and you eat it. All of that stuff.
And and not only that, but there's also a lot of self-awareness. Okay, because I had a patient the other day that came in and he was 350 pounds, and he sat there and told me, "I eat a very clean diet," and a lot of it was visceral fat, and I could tell him that's what we worry about medically for metabolic syndrome, for diabetes, for obesity, hypertension, and but in his head he eats a clean diet,
right?
And it's a lot of it is it goes back to nutrition. That's why I see a lot in your posts. You're always posting about nutrition, and you're always posting about, because it is more so than anything.
Well, it's life-changing when you get it under control.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't recommend specifically for you, again, for a show competition, what the average person or is doing as far as for their health and wellness goals. But a lot of the same tenets, a lot of the same foundational truths. There's some non-negotiables. I don't care if you're training to be in a CrossFit Games to a Spartan to on stage. There's certain things you should put in your body and certain things you should not.
Oh, yeah.
And to be clear, my wife just texted me. If you heard my phone ding, I apologize. There's nothing wrong with tacos.
Oh,
so time and a place for everything.
Time and a place.
Time and a place for everything.
Time and a place.
So,
If a person,
shout out to Rebecca. She'll give you tacos on your
if a person's diabetic,
yeah,
I don't want them eating tacos.
That's right.
Okay, If a person's A1C is 4.9 and they have very good insulin sensitivity, you can have one.
So explain to me A1C. When people, and this is a question that I get more often than not, is what do these things on my blood work mean?
Yeah.
But that's one of the first ones we all look at. So what is that one in particular?
Well, I like every patient when they come in, because half the time I talk to a patient, they told me I had this and they told me I had that, and I said, what is your number? And they said, I don't know, because they didn't go over the numbers with them and they don't know what any of them mean. So I go over their lipids, I go over that, but basically your A1C is pretty much the most accurate that you can get as far it's your blood sugar control over 3 months. So it's something you can't cheat. It's not like your daily fasting blood glucose or your daily fasting insulin. So if you come in fasted, you haven't eaten for 10 to 12 hours the night before, you come in, your blood sugar should be around 70 to 99. And if it's higher than that, you start, we call it insulin resistance, and by over a certain amount, like 135, we call that, prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. A1C is one that we look at, and that tells me your blood sugar control over 3 months. So it's something you can't cheat. It's something that tells me how well you've been eating over the last 3 months. So A1C should be about 4.2 to about 5.6. 5.6, 5.7 to 6.4, that's pre-diabetes.
You need to address it.
You need to address it, okay? If somebody starts inching 5.4, 5.5, I start kind of talking to them about it. Hey, start limiting some of these things. But I don't like telling people they're pre-diabetic, because in the past you used to tell somebody they're diabetic and it's like, oh my God, it's the end of the world, I need to do something. You tell somebody now they're pre-diabetic and it's kind of like, oh, okay, well,
aren't we all?
yeah, we're all pre-diabetic, and it's just, so and I hear this all the time. Well, I'm not going to give this up. I'm going to die happy. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die happy. And I'm like, okay, well,
You're not going to die.
You're not going to die
happy
happy with your limbs cut off and on dialysis. I mean,
no,
trust
you're
me.
not going to enjoy that.
So anybody that's 5.7 to 6.4 on their A1C, they're doing damage. And the easiest way I can describe that to people is, if you think about your blood vessels, think about blood sugar as bits of glass. Okay, the higher amount of blood, the higher amount of blood sugar, the higher amount of glass you have floating through your bloodstream. As it's flowing through there, it's cutting, thrashing. I mean, it's just doing damage to the blood vessels. That's why on a diabetic, you see the first signs at the periphery. You see them at the fingertips, you see them at the feet, because the further out you get, the smaller the capillaries, smaller the blood vessels,
more damage shows up.
Right.
So that's when they start chopping off toes and feet and knees. And we do in surgery, part of my other practice is I'm in surgery 2 or 3 times a week, and we've done BK below the knee amputations, above the knee amputations. So A1C is super important, and then further we start looking into GGT, and those are other things we won't get into, but insulin and other tests. But the main one as a screen should be A1C, fasting blood sugar, which it's on a complete metabolic panel. So
are you sending your clients to have blood work done?
Yeah.
Starting with?
So yes, because I'm on HRT, and I've been with Willie 2 years, 2.5 years, HRT. I'm very consistent with it, like
So
everything. in my
HRT
life.
for people is hormone replacement
Yes.
therapy, and we'll explain what that is, because there's a lot of stigma.
Yes,
with it.
misconception with that. But
So how did you make that determination with Willie when you guys, I'm sure, sat and talked? Because that's a difficult decision for a lot of women to make.
It really is. And I'm, pretty young for, before it was like women in their late 40s and their 50s with hormone stuff. And I just wasn't feeling well. And I knew, I had heard of it about 6 years ago in the Woodlands, and it didn't work well for me. And so I went to Willie, and he, I've known him for years. So when I had the blood work done, and I just wanted to maximize my everyday, feel good every day. So because it worked so well and I saw the benefits from it, most of my clients are females from 35 to 55. Like, that's my clientele. It's the mom, if they've had kids, their grandmas. So,
and I don't know if we covered this, but where are you at?
I'm in Conroe. Yeah. So
it's at one gym, or are you at multiple places?
I'm at one gym, at Silverback Gym in Conroe, and then I do online. So I have a whole online world. That's really getting a lot.
Good. I want to make sure we got that out there. That's
recognition,
an important part of being here.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
and we'll make sure at the very end where to find you.
So I do recommend all my clients, even my online clients. I have males. I only train females in person, but online I will, program for men and do their nutrition. And anytime somebody's not responding to something, they're not responding to diet, they're not responding to exercise, they're, saying, I'm doing this, it's not working. I'm like, go see Willie.
That's right.
and that's what Jason does. And here's what's important for everybody to understand is that it's not just like a, hey, just go. It's like when Jason sends somebody, it's when diet and nutrition and exercise and activity and all the lifestyle changes, because that's the thing is you'll have the people on one side, they're like, no, just only diet and lifestyle and only this and then you have the other people in the real world that's like, okay, well, we've tried this, we've tried that. So it's not really a first step with a lot of things because, again, we talked about, it's a lot of things.
Right.
The hormones are actually way down the list. I always, with patients, start diet, nutrition, exercise, activity, then screen for hormones if they're still not responding, and then all the other things, sleep, stress mitigation, all the other things. So it's important for people to understand that it's not just like you come in and it's we try to optimize all the other things first, and then if they're not responding, then you check, and then it's a screening.
And I know, and you coaches nowadays, a lot of them will have their clients do their blood work outside the lab, bring it to them, and they'll look at it. But I just feel like it should be left to the professional. So. Yep. I can tell, my clients will send me their lab work, and I can look and see what's happening, but I'm like, you should probably talk to your doctor about this. Let them go over it.
Yeah, we try and do a very similar thing. We do,
Right.
We make sure that I and Rebecca, both of us, that we know what our clients are being told, and it's collaborative. We make sure that they're getting a singular message, that they're not getting conflicting ideas and they get confused by that. And it seems to really work well.
Yeah,
we recommend all of our clients' first stop is to get their blood work done before we ever even start paperwork. Go get that done now. And then,
well, especially if
we'll
they're
have
a
that ready.
physique client, because you want their hormones to be optimized already before they do, the extreme. So
the extreme. I don't know what the extreme, what that constitutes, but
Extreme
I'm sure we have an
different,
idea.
is relative to different people.
Yes, it is.
Stage lean is extreme to me.
Yes, it is. It's extreme for everybody. And you just went through that. So you just had a show this month?
Yes, so I did 3 shows the past, I think I've been off stage for about 3.5 weeks now. I started in Tampa at the Tampa Extravaganza. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember dates. I think that was August 1st.
I think you're right.
It was. And then I decided to last minute jump in a show, Southeast Texas Championships, 2 weeks after that. And then I went to Charleston to Junior USA's.
Nice.
So yes, I am off the stage now. I am in improvement season and thriving and loving it. And
so for you, what does improvement season? What's the difference for you from contest season to improvement season? What are those differences?
Improvement season means I just increase my calories based on how my body's responding. So I don't want to increase my calories a ton as soon as I get off stage, because I don't want to gain the body fat, which can come back real fast if you just...
You'll hear that described as a rebound.
Exactly. 20 pounds right off stage is not something that I would like to do. So I just gradually increase those calories each week. I still stick with my same diet. I stick with my same foods, but I do that year round.
That's right. That's a very important point, and that's something that a lot of people don't understand is just because you're trying to gain weight doesn't mean you should change the food you're eating.
Right.
You should change the amount.
Again,
Exactly.
there's certain non-negotiables.
Yeah, and that's a big part of that improvement season is still eating the same foods that your body responds well to.
And I love the foods that I eat, so it's easy to do that. Decrease cardio, because whenever you're trying to get to the stage, sometimes your cardio... Now, mine doesn't get out of hand. I think this past year I was 45 minutes a day for 6 days a week. I mean...
That's manageable.
Some people get really high, so I just pull that back, focus on lifting, moving the weight, and just kind of, coming out of the season, coming out of that deficit that I stayed in so long, especially over this year. It was a hard year.
So we talked about the past and things like that. I want to kind of bring it just back, like for you, because this is what I'm interested in, and for people out there, what was the turning point? At what point did you see yourself and say, okay, I'm gonna, because I know it's not just, hey, I'm just have this goal, and just out of the blue, hey, I have this goal of getting on stage a year from now. You know, was there anything that tipped the balance and just made you go, hey, or was it just truly a decision to, hey, I'm going to do this in a year? Was there seeing yourself a certain way? Was there the way you felt? I mean,
so well, it goes a lot to do with seeing myself a certain way. We all put these. I know I do. I have big goals. Like I put these things on me. I want to look a certain way. Especially, it's easier nowadays because of social media and Instagram and seeing these people, and you're like, I want to look like that. But I worked so hard, and I just couldn't get my body to a place where I was just happy. I was just never happy. And so, and it wasn't that I was like, oh, okay, if I do a bodybuilding show, I'm going to look like that. But it was setting a new goal, because I'm so goal oriented, and I just always want to work towards something. And it was just something that I could work towards. And it wasn't until, like, I didn't realize how things would change until I started seeing my body change with nutrition. And I think my first prep was a 20-week prep, which is smart, doing it the slow way. And I think I never thought my body could get to that point. And I don't know, that's what made me change everything I thought about nutrition and exercise, because I was like, I've been exercising all these years and I couldn't get the way I looked. And so that's kind of what my turning point was. I was just not satisfied with my body, but it wasn't until I had changed the habits with nutrition that I became a lot happier with how I looked.
Did you struggle coming out of your first show? I know a lot of girls really have a hard time with losing that look.
Right. And I'm pretty lean year round. Like I can stay pretty lean. And I was happy. I had lost 10 pounds in my first prep. I went from 140, maybe a little bit more than 10 pounds. And I didn't struggle with it. I guess I was so worried about that post-show blues that everybody talked about, and losing your leanness. Because when you see your body look a certain way like that, you're like, oh, I never want to change this. But it's just not reality.
You can't keep it. Stage lean is not something you can maintain.
And that's important for people to understand, because I have a lot of patients that end up getting body dysmorphia because they're like, oh my God, I want to look like this all the time. And then they can't look like that all the time. And shouldn't look like that all the time.
It's not healthy.
And it's not healthy. But in their head, they want to always look like that. So they have to kind of counsel them through that. And again, it's not everybody.
No, it's not. And I think what helped me is when I ended my season last year on a high note. I had won overall for true novice, or I think novice. I won overall. And so I ended my season on a high note, but I was just short of getting like overall for the show. And that was my drive. Like, okay, I'm going to eat now, and I'm going to lift weights, and I'm going to do this the right way. I never got that post-show blues. Now, this year's been a little bit harder. It's been harder.
Yeah, as you work towards a national stage, the competition level goes up significantly, and it can be a very humbling experience.
It was, yes.
Yes.
The big thing with your training now, how do you feel? Because I know with CrossFit, because here's the thing is, and there's CrossFit, like me personally, when I work in more bodybuilding movements, functional, like other things, instead of just straight CrossFit all the time, like my body doesn't hurt anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the big thing I see a lot of times. And there's nothing wrong with CrossFit if somebody recovers properly, if somebody can take it. But a lot of times, depending on the programming, it'll beat you up. And so how do you feel now with the type of training you're doing? Because that's kind of the goal, is like just to feel good.
Well, so with CrossFit, lots of injuries, right? Like your shoulder kind of always hurt. My hip always hurt. I think towards the end, I had done something to my hip and I could not heal it. I had taken a break and had just like elective surgery, so I could not CrossFit for 6 weeks. And my shoulder felt a lot better. And I was like, oh, this is what it's like. It took my hip about 12 weeks to feel better. And when I went back, I just wasn't in it anymore because I didn't want to hurt. And I'm pretty smart when it comes to movement and technique and form, and I would do my best. But like you said, sometimes the programming, it's just too much on our bodies. It's I don't like to not work out 6 days a week. I like to work out. Well, doing CrossFit 6 days a week really hurts.
That'll break you down.
So with bodybuilding, just doing the, and it's basically bodybuilding's just like the functional move. It's not, pounding, no hit, nothing like that. Just cables and dumbbells. I feel so much better. Joints don't hurt.
Do you feel like you had to detrain any part of your body to get the look that you were going for? And what did that entail?
That is a good question. So CrossFit, you tend to build a lot of traps in women, and I think that's a lot of genetics. Some women just have bigger traps, but like in my division, I don't need that. And so I basically took out any kind of like in CrossFit we did a lot of power cleans and snatches, which I loved, but for my division I can't do that. So I had to downplay any kind of like shrugging, any kind of thing that incorporated any upper back movements. My shoulders used to be pretty big. This year I really brought them down a lot, and maybe too much, because that was some of my feedback, was my upper body needed more development. But I did pull back training on my shoulders because I don't want to, you know, in my division, I don't need capped shoulders.
That's right.
So I, you know, basically means I just didn't train them as much. I didn't go as heavy, and, you know.
What about core work? That's one where I see a lot of people have to transition, is because there is so much core work involved in CrossFit. And in our sport, most of us let the diet do the core work, right?
The only core work I do would be bracing for a squat or bracing for a deadlift. I'm a firm believer in no sit-ups. I hate sit-ups. I don't have any clients do sit-ups. We do anti-extension, which would be like dead bugs, planks, anti-rotation kind of stuff, pal-off presses, that just braces the core, and not so much all the ab sit-ups that we had done previously,
That's
right?
right.
And I let the diet do the work. We all have abs. The diet's going to show them more.
That's right.
So
Now, I know we keep talking about, you know, stage and this and kind of where. How does what you do with all your clients, and same thing with Jason, I mean, translate to the people like, hey, I don't want to be on stage? Because that's the majority.
Right.
That's the majority of them. You're going to have a few that want to be on stage, but some of them are just like,
They're just
I want to
lifestyle.
lose this
Yeah.
tire. I have my 50th wedding anniversary. I have, you know, one lady. And they just want to not, you know, they want to lose a little bit of weight in this, but again, like, how do you start with them? What do you look at first with them as far as that and training?
So with my lifestyle clients, and it's probably similar for, it's honestly the same principles of dieting, right? You're just not getting stage lean. You're not going to the extremes.
That's right.
But with my lifestyle clients, it's more about, okay, with stage, like working that, you sign up for something. So you do everything you can to get there, if that means 6 days a week and then 7 days of cardio. But with lifestyle, the plan is more for how they live their life. If they have time to work out 4 days a week, that's what we do, right? It's tailored around their life because you want them to be successful.
There's a lot more balance.
A lot more balance, but it's the same principles
Exactly.
of, you know, deficit with calories to help lose the fat, and, you know, adding in some cardio and strength training. I mean, that's always important. And eating clean, you have to peel back those layers of what is clean to them, because everybody's clean is different. You know, sometimes I have to give clients suggestions for, you know, different kinds of proteins and different kinds of fats, but it's just lifestyle and stage. It's just not as extreme. But it's the same principles ultimately.
And then also, like, on my part, looking at what are their biomarkers like, because if they're eating a certain diet and their triglycerides are very, very high, or, you know, we do certain, you know, if we do like a SpectraCell, we do some things and their fructose sensitivity is high, like you know, well, they may not do well with certain fruits, even though fruits are healthy, or fruits are not a bad carb. So everybody's a little bit different, and again, you know, like what we talked about earlier, not everybody should be eating the same food. If you're diabetic, it's going to be a little bit stricter on, you know, refine. But again, there's a big difference between, there still is, between refined and processed carbohydrates and boxed food, okay, and whole food.
Yeah.
And
Complex carbs. And,
Exactly.
You know, and cupcakes.
Yeah, and
both carbs,
Yeah.
but not
Yeah.
the same kind, you know?
No.
well, I'm about to post something today, and I was kind of I was at the hospital yesterday, and I brought some of my meat, my protein, in this, and it's very easy to get salads and, you know, fruit, vegetables and stuff at the hospital. And when I went to look, I was like, well, I didn't bring any. They were out of olive oil, of all things, and so I was like, well, you know, I can't. So I grabbed this thing and I looked at it, and it's a Kraft balsamic vinaigrette, and it's real big on the bottom. It says made with extra virgin olive oil.
Oh, yeah.
Turn it around.
It was like the
Water,
10th ingredient.
sugar,
my
melted extra, all this, and then it said oil was
Yep.
soybean oil, canola oil, and then olive oil.
Yeah, no.
And so look at like we preach to everybody, don't just start looking at the macros because they're starting to be very, very smart. They're starting to see that they're losing market share,
Right.
so they can make anything fit their fit macros. And look at the ingredients.
Right.
You know, if something has a chemical name, you can't.
One, it's 25 different ingredients for a
yes.
very simple
Yes.
product. You're like,
Yes. So we're up to the very first break. When we come back, I kind of have a few other questions on training and diet, and I want to touch on the hormonal health again. Okay. So we'll go to a break from our sponsor. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Dr. Sadaf Javed. I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist and I see adults also. I've been practicing in the greater Houston area for the past 5 years and my practice is in the west side of town. In these unprecedented times, it is so important to check in with your mental health. Please pick up the phone and call 832-304-7244 or mycognitivepsychiatry.com and we would be happy to help. Thank you.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
My name is Dr. Willie Villarreal. I'm a board-certified family nurse practitioner, doctor of nursing practice, and owner and founder at Core Sports Health here in Conroe. At Core, we take a root cause functional medicine approach to help you achieve your optimal health and vitality. If you're suffering from any of the following symptoms, we can help you through a comprehensive treatment plan that includes diet and nutrition, exercise and activity, hormonal balance, and stress reduction. For an appointment, please call us at 936-441-2673 or visit us online at coresportshealth.com. Thank you and hope to see you soon.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
Hi, I'm Isaac White, owner of the Isaac White Agency, a full-service property and casualty insurance agency located in Texas. Whether you need us to help you with your auto or your home insurance, your boat or your RV, we've got you covered. And our goal is to make sure you feel good about your insurance. Call us at 936-448-4000.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
It started as a dream. When I was a little kid, I always wanted to have my own restaurant. And it was a dream that finally we had the opportunity to build it here in the Woodlands. And I'm so happy with it.
It's a really authentic Italian food. I try to maintain the most original possible. It's very important. Every day I make my fresh pasta.
Chi mangia bene, mangia italiano. Please come and visit us.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
Welcome back, everybody, to Superhuman with Dr. V and Jason Phelps. I wanted to kind of continue on our question and answer session with Alicia and kind of ask about, number one, we've already kind of touched on diet, nutrition. In the break, we kind of mentioned, supplementation now.
Yeah.
Now, I want to, at the basis, talk about, you kind of mentioned about hormonal health, and you're very open about hormonal health. And we kind of talked about earlier, it's after lifestyle factors have been addressed and things like that. What kind of prompted you to come in and get those looked at initially? I mean, what symptoms were you having? Or was it just straight blood work that you wanted to get looked at?
I think that when I started coming to you is I was tired all the time and I just couldn't seem to recover from workouts very well. I felt sore all the time. I knew I probably wasn't doing the diet right like I should have been, but I was like, I'm not losing weight, I'm not doing this. I just felt like I wasn't responding. I worked out all the time. Why was I not responding? And so that's kind of when I was just like, I'm just going to get my blood work done. I want to see, I know during pregnancies, I was always hypothyroid. So, and after I would, not be pregnant anymore. I just get off my medicine. So that's probably not very good. So I knew I needed to get all of that kind of just tested. I just wanted to know what's going on inside my body. I spent all this time on the outside of my body. Why not know what's happening in the inside? So
well, and again, it was you had mentioned you had already been deemed in the past,
yeah,
you know, hormonally low or low testosterone and things, and it didn't go well with you. And there's a lot of different avenues, and what I find a lot of people is that, you know, they'll be given this, that, or the other, and it didn't work. But there's a lot of different approaches for it, and somebody like yourself that's training all the time, that you may need a different you may need a different modality for the hormonal health or the hormonal, you know. So what kind of did your blood work show? What did you?
So and I want to touch on this. I do so. When I stopped thyroid, I'm always the person that's like, I don't want to do something for the rest of my life. I don't want to take this thyroid pill because I'm going to have to take it for the rest of my life, and I don't want to do that. And it wasn't until I talked to you at my like follow-up appointment over discussing my blood work when you had made a statement of some sort saying, well, if you're going to feel better for the rest of your life, why wouldn't you want to take this? Why wouldn't you want to do this? You're going to work out.
You're going to brush your teeth every day the rest of your life.
Exactly. You're going to do these things the rest of your life, so why can't you take a little pill that's going to help?
Well, and it's important to stress the pill because there's a big difference between a medication and a hormone.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I tell people a lot of times is, like, if you're hormonally low, think of it more like a supplement. Than think of it like your low vitamin D. 80% of the population is low vitamin D. Well, if very few people take vitamin D and they get to a good level and they stop taking it, they just drop. They just drop back to their. And it's the same thing with hormones. Case in point, vitamin D is a hormone.
You bet.
So it's one of those where it's low, but you take it, you're at an optimal level. Without it, you drop back down. So it's the same thing. Thyroid is one of those, and yes, we do try to get to the root cause. For some people, it's Hashimoto's. Some people, they have an autoimmune. Some people, so it's different approach to everybody. But what else as far as?
I was, low testosterone, just clinically low, like 12.
0.
Very
less than 12.
Like nothing. And thyroid was messed up. Low vitamin D, which, like you said, 80. I mean, that's actually one really hard to keep up. You have to take that every day. But everything else was like, my estrogen was okay. Everything was okay. My ranges, I remember you explaining to me, I was in range for everything. Some of them were just kind of far apart from one another. So I opted to do the testosterone therapy, and then take just like the herbal supplements to help bring everything, balance all my other hormones together. And there's different avenues in doing it. The pellets, I chose injections because I'm a control freak, and I feel like I can control that more. Just a once a week injection versus, the pellet, and not knowing what was going on all the time.
They're all this. So
I've had friends whose pellets pushed out too.
Yeah.
That's
well,
a
they're
scary
different for
thing to me.
guys. It's super rare for a woman because for a woman and a man, guys get 8 to 10 to 12 pellets versus a woman gets 1. So rarely, if ever, will you ever see a woman, basically, expel one. But there's the 3 main avenues. It's creams, injections, pellets.
And it's personal preference.
And it's personal preference. Yeah. They're all hormone. It's just the frequency, the delivery system is different. One's a daily, one's a weekly, or even biweekly sometimes, and one's every 3 to 4 months in the pellet. They're all the same. It's just and some will respond to one versus the other. The creams, for example, I was never personally a fan of the creams for a long time because they never raised levels. They never felt better. They never showed up.
But the technology's changed.
Now the technology's changed. Yeah, and we have some really good pharmacies now. Magnolia Pharmacy is a really great pharmacy, and they have this liposomal absorption, and I see levels go up.
It works.
I see levels go up. So it works.
I've heard nothing but great things about that application. I haven't gotten to try it yet.
Yeah,
but
for the males, it's actually working
wonderful.
really, really well. And it's one of those where in the past, historically, creams just didn't work well.
Right.
And so now on the hormone, like, what did you see changing wise or stabilizing once you started balancing your hormones?
It's not. I send clients and I say it's not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks. You guys have to stick with it. So I would say probably 6 weeks, almost 2 months it took. And you just start getting more energy, like your amount of energy. I remember just feeling so much better. Like I had rested, like maybe before I was sleeping 2 hours a night. Now I felt like I was sleeping 12 hours and I just rested. I recovered so much better on my workouts. That brain fog, and it could, you know, obviously I have kids and lots of things happening, but the brain fog subsided to where as a mom, you can just write that off as like, I've got too much going on. I've got this and that and that. But until you truly get it under control and fixed, it just, everything clears out.
And is it something that you recommend for people that maybe that don't train?
Oh yeah. I mean, and I feel like, sometimes, so you're not training, you don't have a good diet, but your hormones are maybe imbalanced. Seeing Willie, like getting your blood work done, maybe try to change those things first. If you see that you're so deficient in these things, and he has the talk with, okay, but you know, diet and exercise, and maybe try that out for 6 weeks. Maybe that will entice you, motivate you to get on the bandwagon of eating a better diet, of working out just twice a week, 3 times a week. Take a long walk, you know, and seeing the changes in your hormones, maybe that's motivating enough.
Yeah.
I saw a patient this morning. Perfect example. He came in and he was borderline. I said, let's fix some lifestyle things. He was pre-diabetic. His A1C was very high, 5.9. We put him on a little bit of metformin, fixed his diet up a little bit, and kind of supplemented, you know, certain, you know, supplements that I wanted to optimize in him. His testosterone now at 54 years old sits at 983. Like, that's 1100 it's right where, and with no testosterone right now. And I told him today, I said, hey, yes, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll watch the blood work every 6 months. If and when you're ever you deem it necessary, then we'll do it. He said, but I told him, I said I'd push it off as long as I could. If you're in the normal ranges and you feel great, and he feels great.
Right.
And now his A1Cs are normal, and I think today it was like 5.1. So I mean, and he's feeling really, really good.
And you've helped him, because now he'll continue these lifestyle changes, seeing that, okay, that worked. Like,
he looks better,
exactly.
He feels better, and so it's not just hormone, you know, just doing that for hormones, but unfortunately,
and there's some people, they need that mental edge that being fixed hormonally gives you.
Yes.
You know, you're talking about that brain fog. Sometimes that is a mitigating factor in people starting to eat better or take care of themselves. And if you can correct that out of the gate, and I know it's kind of working backwards, but sometimes that's what people need, just to be like, okay, I can actually do this. I can get up and go. You know, I actually slept really well last night. You know, I'm going to go work out today.
They actually wake up, but one thing that they all report, especially with testosterone, sometimes with thyroid, is that they pop out of bed in the morning when the way they didn't, the way they had stopped, the way they used to. And one of the things that we can see, and this is not just anecdotal that we're seeing, there's studies going on at USC right now where they're actually using testosterone to stop Alzheimer's in aging men. And so testosterone itself, you can consider, you know, there's this big push right now. I'm going this weekend to a brain optimization seminar, you know, all excited because he's Ben Greenfield and the Wild Health, you know, crew are going to be there in Kentucky, and it's a brain optimization seminar. So nootropics, right? Oh yeah. Brain smart pills are all the rage right now.
Bring us back mushrooms.
Well, yeah, we're going to go foraging for them actually.
Let's do it.
Not psilocybin, but
no.
But basically, with testosterone, you can consider it a very potent nootropic or smart drug because it's in studies has been shown to increase verbal, spatial memory, executive function, and you just think, I have guys that are real estate brokers, I have guys that are hedge fund
all walks
managers.
Of life. Every successful person,
they just think clear. They just think, and the only because they deemed, you know, we did their blood work, they were deemed low T. We fixed that before we start adding in any kind of like smart drugs or supplements. I mean, there's a ton of them out there, and they feel better. They think clear.
Yeah,
you know,
started from the inside.
And so from a woman's perspective, the idea of getting testosterone, that's got to be kind of the first time you heard that mentioned, was it something that scared you?
It didn't, no, but I think it didn't scare me because I really wasn't educated on it, so I didn't know what to be scared of.
Right.
It wasn't until you kind of start doing the research and you see side effects. But whenever you see these things, it's not those women who have these crazy side effects. It's not testosterone like that Willie's prescribing.
Right.
It's all kinds of other things.
So you taking a small to moderate dose of testosterone is not going to make you look like me.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think that's
the
something a
big
lot
thing
of
that
women
everybody
need to understand.
is afraid of. They say,
Yeah.
"Well, I'm going to be the." Well, no, those are women. You know, and then they get on the internet and they read, "Oh, they're going to have clitoral growth
Right.
and
Yeah.
they're going to get a penis and all." And I'm like, no, that's
They're-
with anabolic steroid abuse,
Yeah.
Right.
and using their husband's testosterone
Right.
or bro science or
Gross
gym rat or whatever,
mismanagement of
gross
their program.
mismanagement.
Yeah.
There's a big difference, and I say this all the time, between PEDs and juicing and bro science and hormone therapy for health and wellness, and the levels are very, very different. The first question I always get from women is like, "Oh, I didn't even know we had testosterone." I didn't, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone, and a few other precursors, but they
Well,
all
most
have
women
to be
do.
in
You
balance."
don't. But
Yeah.
the rest
Right.
of them,
Yeah, yeah,
we can get you there.
yeah.
Well,
And-
there's so much misconceptions with it, and I think that when I started my bodybuilding journey, I wanted to be transparent from the get-go because I'm not big and bulky by any means, and I take my testosterone every week, and so yeah, you get that you scare like, oh, I'm gonna be big and bulky, but no, I mean,
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The majority of women are feminine. I've never the goal is never to masculinize anybody.
No.
And the goal
Actually,
and,
that's
and
one of the main things you're trying
to avoid.
Yeah.
And the benefits for women far outweigh the risks as far as we see bone density improvement with I mean the, GE I have a DEXA scan at the office, okay, where I do body composition and I do all these things, and it's a bone density scanner. So GE is not even affiliated with Bioti, with any kind of hormone replacement. If you look and somebody comes back osteopenic or osteoporotic, the very first recommendation is
Testosterone.
hormone replacement therapy.
oh wow,
On the GE recommendations, it'll do their T and their Z scores for bone density, and the very first thing they say is, recommend, looking at hormone replacement therapy. And so those are some of the things, and that includes a lot of other things. So we got one more?
Yeah,
We
I
have
think
one
we
more
have more.
break. So we're going to take one more break for our sponsors, and we'll be back in about a minute or two.
Hi everyone, this is Chef Laurent. I'm the owner of Taste of Paris, a catering company for seniors. If you want to know more about our services, give us a call at 832-415-7374 or visit our webpage at laurentvalsculinary.com. Thank you.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
Hi, I'm Bruce Tuff of the Tuff Law Firm. We are located in the greater Woodlands area. If you need any smart, tough lawyers, call us 281-681-0808. We do personal injury, real estate, construction law, business law, probate, all the legal services you may need. We have over 100 years of experience in our office. Call the Tuff Smart Lawyers, 281-681-0808. Tuff Law Firm.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY
Turn on your glam
91.1
today. The Jenna
FM.
Klein collection is here, elaborated with natural products. Give yourself a compliment with our organic lip glosses in more than 15 shades. With the Jenna Klein lip gloss collection, you can hydrate your lips and keep that glamorous look that you need. Turn on your glam. Visit jennaklein.com. And don't forget our skincare collection with natural ingredients that will improve the skin's appearance and prevent visible signs of aging. We have everything you need to achieve smooth and vitalized skin. jennaklein.com. Turn on your glam today.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
And welcome back to Superhuman with Dr. V and Jason Phelps. We're going to finish up and, kind of just see, where Alicia's heading and what are her goals moving forward. And, we touched on her emphasis on diet and nutrition. She's got a really big following on Instagram and some other things. But number one, where can people find you if somebody wants to come train? Because I know you talked about lifestyle clients, and then you also have physique. You know, where would you want to see yourself in about 5 years?
I would like to see just doing more physique clients. So right now I do have a ton of lifestyle clients. I would like to start venturing into getting more clients to the stage. I like the science behind it. It's just very interesting to me. So I wasn't somebody who was just like, okay, just because I did a show, I can get you to the stage. Now I have educated myself. I go to seminars. I constantly research this stuff, and I follow the science. And I'm to the point where I'm like, okay, I can do this. And so in the next 5 years, that's what I want to do, is I just want to get more competition athletes, things like that, continue my lifestyle, because I love doing lifestyle. It's really fun. I would like to start a podcast soon. I have a client that is one of my great friends, so we're going to team up together and get that going. But yeah, that, and get my pro card. I work really hard for that.
And like we talked about, you have somebody that's years and years and years taken it to you know, to achieve it. And we had our guest last week that had been, I mean, he'd really been.
It doesn't happen overnight for most people. There's the occasional freak that walks out that can do it right out of the gate, and they're just so gifted DNA wise. It's undeniable.
And
here's what I like about both Jason, Rebecca, and Alicia is that y'all are part of the whole new paradigm shift that we've talked about, because there's the old school where it was like, let's do it fast, let's do it big, let's use all these animals, let's do this. And I see a ton of people on the backside that their health is having to fix them because their health is just terrible. Their endocrine system is terrible. Their thyroid's terrible. They're from doing a diet wrong or doing it. And now there's a big movement of, okay, yeah, we can do this. Let's do it a little bit slower. Let's do it the right way and healthy. And then, because there's this big notion, because you hear all the people say, oh, don't do that, because if you do that, you're going to screw your health up. And there are right ways to get on stage. If that's your goal, right, to get on stage, there's right and wrong ways to train for triathlons.
That's right.
Or CrossFit Games or any of those. I mean, that you're going to tank your health if you don't do something the right way. But with both of y'all, it's like the Ben Pakulskis, like we talk about. Ben is one of those where he saw both sides, and now he's more into longevity. And what can I do for my brain, and what can I do to live a long time, and you know, what can I do to be around for my grandkids.
Right.
So, you know, that's what I like about y'all, is that there's a right way to do it. So feel safe. If you're going to be going to Alicia, feel safe. If you're going to be going to Jason and Rebecca. So, because I feel totally safe. Like when they come to me from Jason and Rebecca, just like with you, I said, hey, they've got your diet. I'm not going to tell you. Now, if they're diabetic and they're eating bread 3 meals a day, I'm going to tell them something.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
And you should.
But because I have their long-term health in mind and their blood sugars. But most of the time when they come, I'm like, they got your training, they got your diet. I'll fix your hormones if that's what, you know, is you know.
And it only helps us out, because then they get even better. They get results. They go, you know, they see you, and then everything starts coming together. The diet, the exercise, the hormones, it's all coming together. And it only helps us because they get results.
So, you know, you hear people say that, you know, it's 70% diet, 30% training, and it's really not. It's 100% diet, it's 100% training, and it's 100% your hormone and your profile.
That's health and wellness. We had that talk in the break right before. I said, they come in and they go, oh, I thought I was going to start on hormones because they were low. I thought that was my problem. I can't lose weight. And I'm like, your diet is still garbage.
You have to address all 3 areas to be successful in the sport that we do. And if you leave any of those out in any type of way, you're going to be struggling to keep up with the leaders in that.
The only thing I will say on the health and wellness front is the exercise component. So when I say exercise, they're like, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym for an hour.
Doesn't have to be that.
Doesn't matter. Most of the people aren't even walking
That's, you know,
regularly.
Anytime I go somewhere, I stay in shape, and everyone can always see that I work out. And it's just even like cashiers' places, they're overweight, and they're like, where do I start? Like, I love it because it's my passion. I'm like, okay, let me tell you. But I'm like, honestly, walk. 30 minutes
do
a day.
something.
And they won't believe
know?
you because it's too easy.
Right.
They think it's got to
exactly.
be, no, it's got to be more than that. It's really not.
No.
It's start putting less in your mouth and start doing more with your
Moving
feet.
more.
And you'd be surprised how much can change in your body.
I love it because I always bring it. Dr. Eads and I. He's been on the show before. He's a really good friend, but even he, it's cool to see the influence on him because like he, just like myself, they say, well, I don't have time to work out. Well, if I'm real busy on a Wednesday or Friday, I walk out of a room in surgery and there's stairs. I walk the flight of stairs up with my backpack to the 8th floor, and then I walk down. And I mean that.
And you're on your feet. And he's on his
all day.
feet working, right? Like
Yeah.
you are active. You've got an active profession. You shouldn't be short of activity.
Yes, and yeah.
But it's
so.
simple things like stop spending 10 minutes circling a parking lot looking
That's
for
right.
your front space. Park at the back of the
Park at
parking
the back
lot
and
and
walk.
walk.
Yeah.
It gives
Yeah.
you extra steps.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
call it neat or
Yeah.
non-exercise.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, there are easy places to start. It doesn't have to be a drawn-out 12-week plan of lifting every day.
And it doesn't have to be Monday.
No.
Everybody's like,
No,
on
why wait
Monday
till
I'll
Monday?
start.
Start on Monday.
Start now. Start now.
It starts
Stand
on Monday.
wherever you're at. If you're sitting down listening, stand up.
Get some squats in.
Do something. You don't. And that neat is always where we tell people to start.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if they're not starting with. I mean, if they're not doing anything.
And Fitbits are kind of crazy, but I learned. Give them a step count, make a move. Like say, 10,000 steps a day. I have my online clients. I'm like, I want 10,000 steps a day because I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah,
that's right.
So it just
and what I tell people all the time, because we always talk about that, there's nothing magical about 10,000 or 15,000 steps, but you have to be intentional to hit 10,000 steps.
That's right.
It's a goal.
You have to do it.
It keeps it front of mind.
Yeah.
And with that, you've got more data, and more data is always a good thing. It's people that don't track anything that they do that really struggle because they will underreport everything, not just eating, but activity as well.
So as we finish up, where do people find you? Website or Instagram? Or where is the easiest place to get a hold of you?
The easiest way to get a hold of me is Instagram. I'm on Facebook, but because I post family things on Facebook, I really don't post a lot of fitness. Instagram, Alicia_Nance_. I have an email, AllieNicoleFitness@gmail, but all my information's up there. And that's honestly the easiest way. I answer messages right away. I'm always really good about it. Soon I'll have a website coming up, so that will be very helpful. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, any parting words that you want to leave people with on kind of where to start, what to do?
Yes. So don't overthink things. Start with little things, little changes, little daily habits. Think of things long term. Don't give yourself 2 months to lose X amount of weight. I like to think longer. Think of where am I going to be next year? I like to think that. Be consistent. I can't preach enough to my clients, to followers, people who message with me. Be patient and be consistent. It doesn't happen overnight, and the more consistent you are, the more your body will respond to things. Drink water. That's a big one.
There's one thing you said earlier, and you said earlier you're a goal-setting person, and my wife, that's her thing, is goal setting, and she's always making goals, trying to check them off her list. So from her today, instead of a closing note from me, set goals. Be intentional about that.
Have something to work towards. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, cool. Well, we are completing another, successful show. Be sure to look up, Alicia on Instagram and her email, or her website. Sorry. And we'll catch y'all next week, next Thursday at 12 o'clock.
Yeah. Thanks
for
joining
tuning in.
us.
Take care. Have a good week.